When Superior Spider-Man started going crazy on his villains and even killed one of them, the Avengers quickly began considering kicking him out of the team. Wolverine, however, thought otherwise, reminding everyone that they all have blood on their hands, essentially saying that they instead should give Spidey some guidance. They therefore hit his Avengers card up to talk to him, asking him to explain what had happened to him and why he is being so violent recently, because otherwise they're gonna have to run some tests on him to prove that he's real, especially if he wants to remain an Avenger. Otto didn't really want to engage in this conversation and therefore tried leaving, but then Cap stopped him only to get thrown over, ultimately starting a fight. Otto was actually holding his own with the help of his Spidey sense until Peter's soul distracted him and caused him to get knocked out. And so after getting examined from head to toe, Cap basically confirms that Spider-Man is not a Skrull, a clone, or anything else, and that he is in fact completely real. Otto, however, was the only one clever enough to notice the minor anomaly in his brain pattern, which he obviously doesn't mention. The Avengers then leave him alone in the room with Natasha, who essentially tries comforting him about his first kill, telling him about how it was the first time she herself did it and whatnot. But while she is doing that, Peter's soul takes control of Otto's hand, forcing him to draw something in an attempt to make Nat understand that his body is taken over by Dr. Octavius. But Otto just thanks her for the advice and immediately heads to his lab to deal with the anomaly from his brain scan, ultimately revealing that he now knows that Peter's soul/consciousness is still there. And so after doing some research, he eventually realizes that this essence and voice of Peter in his head is essentially an accumulation of Peter's memories, meaning that as long as Peter's memories still exist, Peter will always be alive in some form in the background. He therefore decided to wipe all of Peter's memories, which would end up leading to a fight to the death between the two inside of Otto's mind, where they'll both call in their closest friends and family. However, a bit later, when they started fighting purely as Spider-Man, Peter will slowly begin losing the fight, mainly due to Otto gaslighting him into believing that he doesn't deserve to be Spider-Man because he isn't willing to do what it takes to save the day, which in return eventually leaves Otto free with complete control over Peter's body as Peter fully disappears.